Boom! President Trump just shook up the stimulus world with some major news. Did he actually sit down with Mitch McConnell and pass a stimulus bill? No. Did he call Nancy Pelosi to the White House for a summit to get something done for the American people? No. But he did send a strongly worded tweet this afternoon. Yeah, that's your stimulus update this afternoon. President Trump finally, after weeks of not talking about the stimulus, finally gets off of his butt and goes to Twitter, his favorite medium for dispensing news and information. Here he said, Congress must now do a COVID relief bill. Yeah, now. Let's do it now. Needs Democrats' support. Make it big and focused. Get it done. Let's read that again. Congress must now do a COVID relief bill. Okay, now? Now we need to do this? Yeah, we didn't need to do this weeks ago. We didn't need to do this in the summer when people started losing their jobs. We need to do it now. So, yeah, we need to do it now. And by the way, needs Democrats' support. Yeah, I think Democrats do support a COVID bill. They passed one earlier in the spring that sat on Mitch McConnell's desk. Turtle Boy, Mitch McConnell, who has no appetite to pass a stimulus, Mr. President, I urge you not to do any kind of negotiating with Democrats for the election. Yeah, that's true. We learned this week that Mitch McConnell met with his caucus, urged the White House to not do any COVID relief bill before the election. So now we need a COVID relief bill. Let's do one now. So meanwhile, in Washington, D.C. today, there was thousands of MAGA supporters, Trump supporters who all showed up, mostly men who wanted to show their support and rally behind the president. The president didn't speak at all, just basically drove by and went and played golf. So the president taking to Twitter to demand a COVID relief bill, something large, something focused. Now, remember, of course, a few months ago when the president said he wants a bill that's bigger than anything that the Democrats want, and even, frankly, bigger than the Republicans. I want this bill to be bigger and better than anything we've done before. And now he's saying that it needs to be bigger and focused? What the hell is he actually talking about? Well, we've got some more reporting on this, so let's go through some of the details of this. Trump's remarks, of course, are the first since Biden won the presidential election. Before November 3rd, the president constantly called for another stimulus update package. At times, Trump even suggested that he would support this larger $2.4 trillion plan and further spending, that he would go further than what the Democrats wanted. Mitch McConnell has no appetite for that, of course. The White House was negotiating with Democrats on this, so Steven Mnuchin was working directly with Democrats on this. Mitch McConnell was kind of marginalized, kept out of this whole mix. Well, now we know that Mitch McConnell has wrestled back control from the White House, taken over stimulus negotiations from Steven Mnuchin. So now he's not involved anymore. Mnuchin is like packing, get your boxes ready to go, you're done. You're no longer Treasury Secretary in about 63 days once President-elect Biden takes the oath of office. But right now, the GOP is pushing for a smaller stimulus package, upwards of about $500 billion. Mitch McConnell has suggested it might go as large as $650 billion, which is nowhere near the level that we need to. And President-elect Biden is talking about putting in place a stimulus during a full-on lockdown, where wages would be paid for. So you would stay home, wages paid for, and a stimulus put in place to make sure that you're taken care of. That wouldn't be, of course, until he's president at the end of January. But we did get word this morning from some reporting on the Wall Street Journal that a COVID relief bill between Democrats and Republicans right now with this lame duck session is not going to happen. According to the Wall Street Journal, the sharp surge in coronavirus cases nationwide and revived restrictions on businesses haven't jolted stimulus talks back to life, which is just like mind-blowing to me. We are upwards of 200,000 cases a day. We are heading for, as Dr. Osterholm called it, COVID hell. That's what we're facing right now. And we don't need a stimulus? Democrats and Republicans are now looking towards passing spending bills to try to keep the government open. So there are spending bills we need to put in place so December 11th rolls around that the government stays open and functions. Those are now suddenly more pressing than a stimulus package. Top Republicans and Democrats, according to the Wall Street Journal, remained at odds about the price tag of a new agreement. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who's taking over from Trump now, and Speaker Pelosi have no current plans to talk. They're not getting together at all. President-elect Biden has said that he would like to see a deal done as soon as possible. Well, of course, President Trump weighs in over Twitter, doesn't do anything else. I love the hypocrisy of Trump, though, by the way. He just, on a Saturday afternoon, just sends out a random tweet. The power of that tweet months ago would have been much stronger. President of the United States, before election, push members of Congress to get this done, push your Republican members to get this done. Now you're done. You're out of office, buddy. So now on a Saturday on your way to the golf course, you're sending a strongly worded tweet asking people to get some stuff done. Do you think Mitch McConnell's paying any attention to him at this point? If the fact that he's taking over negotiations now from Stephen Mnuchin, it's back in his court. He has to work with Nancy Pelosi to get this done. Does he give a rat's behind what the president tweets on a Saturday afternoon? No. So right now, several factors have combined to reduce the prospects of another major aid agreement in 2020. Number one, the enduring ideological differences over the size of another relief bill. The refusal by Trump and many Republicans to acknowledge that even Biden won the election. That would be a big help. Here's how you could help this, Mr. President, before you go out to play golf. Concede the election. Get all of your MAGA buddies who are hanging out in Washington, D.C. to realize that you are not going to win this thing. It's over. Your baseless court fights right now have been thrown out. Just come out and concede. Be a man. Right now, of course, Democrats also lost big races in the House, so they didn't win overwhelming. There was no blue wave. So had there been a blue wave, if Democrats had stuck to progressive policies, if they had stood their ground and talked about things that matter, Medicare for all, getting rid of fracking, environment, talking about universal health care, talking about labor rights and jobs and workers' rights, talking about all of those things. Instead, they didn't. Instead, they lost House seats. So Biden won. That's great. Now you've got House seats that are gone. The Democrats have lost. Barely holding on to power is Nancy Pelosi. And the Senate is up for grabs. We don't know who's going to be in control of the Senate. So now they're really sort of pinning their hopes on these two Georgia runoff races that are set to happen in the early part of January. So millions of dollars is going to pour into these two Senate races in Georgia. If Democrats can actually win those two seats, they get control of the Senate, and then they could do a massive stimulus package. They would have control. Right now, they don't. At a press conference on Friday, Nancy Pelosi accused Republicans of playing down the threat, which, how do you play down the threat? Everyone knows somebody right now who has COVID or is working at a hospital or has had their hours cut or is on the front lines. How do you play down this thing, Mitch? As if it's going to go away? Like President Trump said it was going to go away a number of months ago. It's just going to go away. It's going to be a miracle. It's just going to go away. So yeah, no, we're in the same place we were, and now it's worse. The other day, I played some older video of Neil Kashkari where he talked about we're seeing upwards of 50 coronavirus cases a day. Someone tweeted me and said, how old is that video? I said, oh, it was at the end of September. Yeah, that didn't age well, did it? Now upwards of 200,000 cases a day. McConnell said on Thursday that Senate Republicans still favored the roughly $650 billion legislation, which is the much smaller version, nowhere near the level that even Trump talked about before the election, nowhere near the level that Democrats want. And by the way, it does not include direct stimulus checks to the American people. So his view is that the economy is improving, that the labor market is showing great signs, and that, look, we're doing pretty good. We've gotten past the impasse we've had now for 4 or 5 months. We're going to do something that's appropriate. Jobless rate fell to 6.9%. But the Federal Reserve Chair, Jerome Powell, this week said basically you can't believe those numbers. That the permanent unemployment in this country is over 10 million jobs lost and upwards of 20 million permanent job losses in this country. You can just point to the 6.9% number and believe that that's true because all of your big money donors want you to believe that that's true and they're telling you not to pass a bill with Nancy Pelosi. Still, the stalemate persists, and there are a lot of Republicans and Democrats coming out today saying, look, low to slim that we're going to pass this thing. The acceptance of the reality of Trump's loss would, I think, be helpful in getting us back to the table to negotiate something between the two parties, a member of Congress said. But I'm pessimistic that anything will happen because Speaker Pelosi is consumed with becoming speaker again. That's on the Republican side. So any breakthrough is not at all likely. the main focus right now should be for all of those people who are frontline workers or important government workers who might be furloughed by December 11th if we don't get a continuing resolution to keep the government open. This country, I'm telling you what, it's going down in flames, folks. If you don't see it, then I feel sorry for you. This is a disaster. And this president should be ashamed. And no, thank goodness he's gone. But on a Saturday afternoon, this is all you have to offer is a strongly worded tweet about the stimulus. Thanks, Mr. President, for all that you do for the American people. We really appreciate it. Thanks for your leadership. Sayonara. Let me know your comments. Let me know your thoughts on this latest stimulus update this afternoon. Drop me a comment below and I will check them out. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. We will see you back here as soon as possible. Much love to all of you.